Vladimir Putin was born in 1952 in a small apartment in Leningrad, a city in Russia that is now called St. Petersburg. His family was very poor. They lived in one small room in a shared apartment with other families. The kitchen and bathroom were shared by everyone. There was little food, little money, and very little comfort. Life was hard, and every day was a struggle. Putin's father worked in a factory and had been a soldier during World War II. He was badly injured in the war and walked with pain for the rest of his life. Putin's mother also worked in a factory. She was quiet, kind, and very strong. Both parents worked long hours, and they were always tired. They wanted their son to have a better life, but they had no power or money to change their situation. As a child, Vladimir was small and weak. Other boys often bullied him. They pushed him, laughed at him, and took his things. He felt angry and helpless. One day, after another boy hit him, Vladimir decided he would never be weak again. He started to train his body. He joined a judo club and later learned other fighting sports like boxing and wrestling. Training was painful and difficult, but he never gave up. Slowly, he became stronger and more confident. At school, Vladimir was not a good student at first. He was bored and often got into trouble. Teachers thought he would never succeed. But one teacher changed his life. She told him that he was smart and could do great things if he worked hard. For the first time, someone believed in him. Vladimir began to study seriously. He read books, did his homework, and improved his grades. He became very interested in history, politics, and foreign countries. He dreamed of becoming a spy. He admired strong leaders and wanted to serve his country. He watched movies about secret agents and imagined himself working for the government. This dream became his goal. After finishing school, Vladimir wanted to join the KGB, the Soviet Union's secret service. But first, he needed a university degree. He applied to Leningrad State University and was accepted. This was a big moment for him and his family. No one in his family had gone to university before. University life was not easy. He still had little money and lived simply. He studied law and worked very hard. He continued his sports training and became very disciplined. He woke up early, trained, studied, and followed strict routines. He learned how to control his emotions and focus on his goals. During his university years, he finally achieved his dream. The KGB noticed him and invited him to join them. He was very proud. After graduating, he started his training as a KGB officer. For him, this was not just a job. It was his mission. Later, he was sent to East Germany to work as a secret agent. His life there was lonely and dangerous. He had to live quietly and hide his true identity. He gathered information and watched people closely. He learned how power works and how fragile it can be. In 1989, everything changed. The Soviet Union was collapsing. The Berlin Wall fell. Angry crowds attacked government buildings. Putin was in Germany when people came to his office. He called Moscow for help, but no one answered. The government was falling apart. He had to face the crowd alone. That moment taught him that power must be protected or it disappears. Soon after, he returned to Russia. The country was in chaos. The Soviet Union had ended. Many people lost their jobs. Crime and poverty were everywhere. Putin left the KGB and began working for the mayor of St. Petersburg. This was his first step into politics. He started as a small official, but he worked hard and showed loyalty. He was calm, serious, and efficient. People noticed him. He moved to Moscow and worked for the Russian government. Slowly, he climbed higher. In 1999, Russia was very unstable. The president at that time, Boris Yeltsin, was sick and weak. He chose Putin as his prime minister. Many people did not know who Putin was. He looked quiet and ordinary. No one imagined he would become so powerful. When Yeltsin resigned, Putin became acting president. Soon after, he won the election. He promised to bring order, stability, and pride back to Russia. Many people trusted him because he looked strong and confident. From a poor boy in a small room to the leader of a great country, Putin's journey was long and hard. His life shows how discipline, ambition, and opportunity can change a person's fate. He never forgot his difficult childhood. It made him tough and careful. It taught him to never appear weak. It shaped the way he ruled his country. This is the story of a boy who grew up with nothing but dreams and pain, and who used both to build a powerful life. After Vladimir Putin returned to Russia from Germany, he found a country that was broken and confused. The Soviet Union had collapsed. The old system was gone, but a new one was not yet strong. Factories were closing. People were losing their jobs. Crime was rising, and many families were poor. The streets felt unsafe, and no one trusted the future. Putin left the KGB and began working for the mayor of St. Petersburg, Anatoly Sobchak. At first, his job was simple. He worked in foreign relations and helped bring business and investment to the city. He was quiet, serious, and very organized. He did not talk much, but he worked long hours and never complained. Sobchak trusted him more and more. Putin solved problems calmly and without drama. When others argued, he stayed silent and focused on results. Slowly, he became one of the mayor's most important helpers. But politics in Russia was dangerous. Many people were corrupt. Powerful businessmen, called oligarchs, controlled money, media, and politics. Bribes were common. Threats were common. Some politicians were even killed. Putin learned to survive in this world. He stayed loyal, avoided attention, and built strong connections. He never showed fear. He watched carefully and remembered everything. In the mid-1990s, Sobchak lost his election. Suddenly, Putin had no job. Once again, his future was uncertain. But his hard work had not gone unnoticed. People in Moscow remembered him. He was invited to work in the Kremlin, the center of Russian power. At first, he worked in small government jobs. Step by step, he moved higher. He became head of the Federal Security Service, the new name for the KGB. Then he became secretary of the Security Council. In 1999, President Boris Yeltsin chose Putin as prime minister. Russia was weak and divided. Terrorist attacks were happening. Chechnya, a region in Russia, was fighting the government. People were scared and angry. Putin spoke on television with a cold, strong voice. He promised to destroy the terrorists and bring order. His tough words made people feel safe. For the first time in years, Russians felt they had a strong leader again. Later that year, Yeltsin suddenly resigned. He apologized to the nation and handed power to Putin. At only 47 years old, Putin became acting president of Russia. Many people still did not know him well. But he ran for president and won the election in 2000. His message was simple: Russia must be strong, united, and respected again. As president, Putin moved fast. He limited the power of the oligarchs. Some of them were arrested or forced into exile. He took control of major television stations. He strengthened the army and police. Critics said he was becoming too powerful. Supporters said he was saving Russia from chaos. Putin believed that a weak government leads to suffering. He believed that order is more important than freedom. His past as a KGB officer shaped his thinking. He trusted control more than democracy. Under his rule, Russia's economy improved. Oil and gas money filled the government's banks. Salaries rose. Streets became safer. Many people felt proud of their country again. But at the same time, freedom of speech became smaller. Journalists were threatened. Political opponents were arrested. Protests were broken by police. Putin was re-elected again and again. Some elections were criticized as unfair. But he always remained in power, either as president or prime minister. He changed the constitution to stay longer in office. He built a system where loyalty was rewarded and opposition was punished. Internationally, Putin wanted Russia to be feared and respected again. He challenged the United States and Europe. He said the West was trying to weaken Russia. Russia invaded Georgia in 2008. It took Crimea from Ukraine in 2014. In 2022, Russia launched a full invasion of Ukraine. The world was shocked. Putin said he was protecting Russian people and Russian culture. Others said he was starting a brutal war. Sanctions were placed on Russia. Many countries cut ties. Russia became more isolated. Inside Russia, Putin tightened control even more. Independent media was closed. Protests were banned. Speaking against the war became a crime. To his supporters, Putin is a hero who saved Russia from collapse and humiliation. To his critics, he is a dictator who destroyed democracy and caused war. But no one can deny his rise to power was extraordinary. From a quiet boy in a poor apartment, to a secret agent, to the most powerful man in Russia, his life is a story of ambition, discipline, fear, and control. He learned early that weakness is dangerous. He learned that power must be held tightly or it will be taken away. And he built his entire life around that belief. This is the story of how a KGB agent became the president of Russia and changed the world forever.